Welcome to Vintage Weights PGH. I'm going to give you the details, at least as far as I know so far, on the grip competition, the HomeGymCon Grip Championships that'll be happening this April, April 26th at 10 a.m. in French Lick, Indiana for HomeGymCon. If you don't yet have tickets for HomeGymCon, use code VINTAGE to save 10% on your tickets. How much does it cost to enter this grip competition? Absolutely nothing, as long as you have a ticket to the expo that day, which, by the way, costs only $34 and change, and you can save some money with code VINTAGE. The grip competition is free. You're there and you get to do it for free as long as you register ahead of time. And check this out. Registration for the grip competition is available on homegymcon.com if you're already a ticket holder, and it consists of a couple simple questions. What's your name? What's your email address? There you go. It's not exactly like you're taking out a mortgage or something for a house. It is simple and easy. It's just so that I have an idea as the coordinator and the promoter for the grip competition of how many athletes I'm going to have competing. Now let's get into this video. What are we going to cover? We're going to cover the implements, the grip tools that will be used in the competition, and then we're going to get into how the competition will be conducted, what's the format, how many attempts do you have, stuff like that. And then finally I'll get into some do-it-yourself type advice, if you will, for training for the next month or so until the competition, so that if you want to prepare and you want to kind of get yourself used to some of these lifts, you can. Right off the bat, the competition will start with the Napalm Nightmare. The Napalm Nightmare is a grip tool invented by Jed Johnson. He was on Home Gym History a while back. Check out that episode if you haven't. And he talked about on Home Gym History how he invented it. It has different attachments that can go on it, and then it clips with a carabiner to a loading pin. I'll show you that in just a second. However, in terms of the specific setup for HomeGymCon Grip Competition, Grip Championship, we're going to use the 2 3/8 inch handles. This is a significantly wide diameter handle that mimics the grip of the famous Thomas Inch dumbbell. So I love the historical connection, but unlike the Thomas Inch dumbbell that you would grip with one hand, this is going to be a double hand lift. And in a moment, when I show you the setup for attempts and for the knock bar, you'll see what I mean by the following phrase, but this is going to be a 6-inch lift to a crossbar. The second event will be a medley. The medley is going to have several different challenges, as I'm calling them, different lifts. Black Widow Training Gear has been nice enough to make a globe grip dumbbell handle for us, as well as a cliffhanger implement that tests your fingertip strength. And then Stronger Grip is going to provide a blob trainer that I'll be putting the equivalent of a half 80 or a 40-pound weight stack on for a challenge. So those three challenges are definitely included. I have a couple companies that I've reached out to that I haven't heard back from yet that I'll be updating. I'll comment on this video as updates come in. I'll post to my Instagram, Vintage Weights PGH, as updates come in, and I'm sure that Jake will share on the HomeGymCon website and their page as well. But for now, you can rest assured that there will be some hub lifts as well as some blob and some thick-handled lifts incorporated in the medley. Third event is going to be the Arm Assassin Strength Shop. They're the same makers of the Napalm Nightmare, but this time it's going to be the Arm Assassin Strength Shop 2-inch vertical cannon. This is made by a different company. However, it's essentially the same thing. It's going to be a vertical lift, so instead of horizontal like the Napalm Nightmare, you're lifting vertically. Much like the Napalm Nightmare, it'll be clipped by a carabiner onto a loading pin, and then instead of the 2 3/8 inch, it's only a 2-inch vertical cannon for this event. The last event, the fourth event, is going to be the first ever use of the Saxon grips in a grip competition. It's going to be a hold for time, and this is a Grip Sport International competition, and Jed Johnson, I'll give him credit, was nice enough to float this idea to me that rather than lifting for weight, why don't you try a hold for time? And then I thought, oh man, that's gonna be brutal. That'll be awesome, a great way to finish out the competition. So the Saxon grip, the way it works is kind of like fat grips, only it gives some historical kind of homage to Arthur Saxon, who lifted large pieces of timber with his hands, showing an immense grip strength. And it was invented by home gym owner Eric Eccles, Icebox Gym on Instagram. So it's kind of cool for HomeGymCon to have a home gym owner invention included, in my opinion at least. So this will be put onto a fixed dumbbell. Ironmaster will be providing the fixed dumbbells, which is pretty awesome. It's going to be a 50-pound fixed dumbbell, and then you will lift it and hold it for as long as you can. That's for the men. The women will have a 40-pound fixed dumbbell that this will be put onto. Now let's back the camera up. My 5-year-old cameraman's helping me out, and I'll show you the setup for some of the lifts, as well as go through how they'll be conducted, attempts, things like that, timing. So for the first event, the Napalm Nightmare, and for the third event, the Vertical Cannon, there's a setup from Arm Assassin that we'll be using where there are uprights that are adjustable in height, and there's a knock bar that goes onto the loading pin. And then you have your weight, and there's a crossbar. This bright yellow crossbar makes it very easy for the judges to see if you've reached the proper height. Prior to the competition, we will measure to make sure the distance from the knock bar to the crossbar is precisely 6 inches. Then we attach the implement and you perform your lift. Some specifics for Napalm Nightmare is that your hands have to be on the handle. They can't come off onto either side of the handle. You also have to make sure that when you're lifting, you don't brace on your leg. You know, it has to be completely free from your body as you lift. Your leg can't, and your thigh can't help you to hold on to it, if that makes sense, or help you to maintain your grip. Your grip is the only thing that should be in contact, your hands in contact with the implement. Nothing else should touch the implement. It's not to a full lockout for most people, just to let you know. If you do have a shorter athlete, so if we have a shorter athlete, I should say, who would like to be on blocks, I'll have blocks available where you can lift while standing on blocks. That's completely fine. Same thing for the Vertical Cannon. Clip it on and perform your lift. Especially for the Vertical Cannon, since you're kind of like one arm in the middle, make sure that you're not resting on your body, that your arm is free from your body. And then you just have to hit the crossbar. You don't have to come all the way up to a lockout. Once the knock bar hits the crossbar, you'll be finished. That's a good lift. You return it. Now, with that said, how many lifts do you get? Attempts, stuff like that. You get 4 attempts. I'm hoping to have a large crowd of athletes competing at HomeGymCon, so in the sake of time, and for the sake of time, that's why it's 4 attempts. You get 30 seconds for each attempt. You can make as many attempts within those 30 seconds as you want. So if I try for it and I drop it, the judge will probably help me out and tell me, hey, 20 seconds, let me know how much is left, and I can take a second, regrip, try again. At the end of 30 seconds though, it's no good if you haven't successfully hit the crossbar. If you do fail a lift, you still have your other 3 or 2 or 1, you still have your remaining attempts out of your 4 attempts, but just know that it's a rising bar format. So if you fail at 135 pounds, for example, it's rising bar, so your next attempt is going to be higher because the other athletes are going to move on. Now, with that said, the medley is the second event, and that's also 30 seconds, but a little different. For the medley, I'm hoping to have 10 challenges. You have 30 seconds to complete each challenge, but that includes travel time. They'll be set up generally close to each other, but if the 30-second elapses, the judge that will be traveling with you will call a no lift and point you towards the next available challenge. Please understand that you get 1 point for each of the challenges. So if you finish with 8 out of 10, then you get 8 points for that event. This event will include a variety of challenges, so you also have to consider, your strengths and weaknesses as an athlete. Some of the challenges will have a knock bar, loading pin, and crossbar that will determine it, and you'll have to lift to a specific height. Other ones might be to a box, like you might need to perform a lift to a box. That would be a good lift, you move on. The fourth event is the Saxon Grip Hold for Time. Like I said, Ironmaster is kindly providing the fixed dumbbells, 40-pound dumbbell for women, 50-pound dumbbell for men. It's a one-handed lift. When you come up onto the platform, there will be 3 to 4 competitors at a time lined up. So you'll compete in a wave, if you will. Everyone gets 1 attempt, and then you're done. So this is it. It's the end of the competition. This is where you empty the fuel tank, all right? So really, put it on for this one. The grip will be attached with the opening facing up. To begin, when you grip the implement, you must have your thumb on one side, fingers on the other, and you cannot go over to the sides. Your fingers must be on the side of the implement. If your fingers cross underneath, that is also a no-go. You must be on the sides. If your hand is so stinking large that you've got your thumb all the way down and your fingers still reach all the way over and around, well then come and see me and we'll talk about it. But unless Brian Shaw shows up to HomeGymCon, I don't think that'll be an issue. So maybe I'm wrong, we'll see. But just come and see me if that's an issue. But reasonably speaking, everyone should be able to have their fingers and their thumbs on the sides of the block. Now, at the beginning, the dumbbell. I'm using a fixed globe dumbbell, a vintage globe dumbbell, but it'll be a fixed dumbbell by Ironmaster. You'll have the dumbbell in front of you. You can pick either hand you want to perform the hold with. The judge will give the ready, and that's the point where you begin to grip it, and then the judge will indicate that it's time to lift. At that point, you lift it up. You need to keep it free from your body. It should not be resting on your body like this. Okay, you have to keep it free from your body. Doesn't matter whether it's this way or that way. If you want to stand to the side, that's fine as well. But you cannot touch your body with the dumbbell at any point in time. When you drop it, or when you return it to the ground, that is when the judge will stop the timer for you. Each wave will be measured, and then it will be racked and stacked from there. So even if you win out of the 3 or 4 people in your wave, that doesn't mean you necessarily will win the entire event. Some final considerations. Chalk is completely fine. Please know that I will have some chalk there. No liquid chalk, just good old-fashioned dry chalk like this spider chalk that I happen to have here in this bin. You can bring your own chalk if you like, or I will have this. You can wear a belt, like this wonderful belt of mine from Belt Fed Strength, if you would like. You can wear knee sleeves, but you shouldn't have anything on your hands. So please make sure it's just chalk. Lifting belt is completely fine. Like Napal Nightmare, the first event, I will probably be wearing a belt for, especially when it gets a little heavier. Weigh-in is at 9 o'clock, anytime between 9 and 10 o'clock. Obviously, the closer you can get till 9 o'clock, the more it helps me out, because as we get closer to 10 o'clock, I'll probably be scurrying around trying to get last-minute things set up. So please stop by. The competition is being held right next to the Arm Assassin Strength Shop booth. So stop by, weigh in, super easy. You step on the scale. It helps me determine what division you'll be competing in. The lifts for the Napalm Nightmare will be entered into the record books with Grip Sport International, so it also applies to that. So if you have an extraordinary lift that is going to make a top 100 list for Napalm Nightmare, you need to be officially weighed in. As far as prizes and things of that nature, some prizes may go out to the best overall competitor, which will be figured out by taking your body weight divided by your lifts. So I need your body weight accurately measured on the day of the competition for that purpose as well. So please stop by and weigh in. I will have a female judge with me to weigh in all of the females, and then I will be there, or another male judge will be there to weigh in the males. Competition begins at 10 o'clock a.m. on the first day of HomeGymCon, Friday, April 26th. The event, most likely, I'm guessing, will take about 3 to 3.5 hours. So that will take us to around 1 to 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock at the latest. Then I'm planning to hopefully have the Grip Feet of Strength event at about 3 o'clock at the same location. So once you rest and recover for about an hour, stick around for the Feet of Strength competition. If you're watching this and you're like, oh man, I don't know whether I should compete or not, just stop by and check it out. While the competition's going on, you'll be able to try out some of the implements and things, and then come out to the Feet of Strength competition and jump into that. There's no registration for the Feet of Strength event, because it's just kind of like a loose, fun event where if you want to try to set a world record on the Saxon Grip, for example, Iron Master is kindly providing an adjustable dumbbell where we're going to just keep on raising the weight and see who can lift the most, who can successfully lift to lockout the heaviest Saxon Grip lift. And then Eric Eccles and AbMat will declare them the world record holder. That'll be pretty cool. And there'll be some other cool stuff along the way. Arm Assassin Strength Shop is bringing some cool implements to try out during the Feet of Strength event, and so will I. I hope this helps you out. Last but not least, to help you out, some do-it-yourself advice. For Napalm Nightmare, it's about $100 plus shipping from Arm Assassin Strength Shop. If you're not gonna pick that up, then fat grips are a little cheaper. You can get a pair of fat grips, you can put it on a barbell, put them close together. It's just about where the outside knurling will end on most barbells, that little smooth area before the center knurling. Put them on right there and practice lifting with those fat grips. If you get the fat grips extreme, then those ones will be a little closer to the 2 3/8 inch rather than the blue ones that I'm holding right here. For vertical cannon, if you have an Olympic dumbbell, like Olympic dumbbell handle, I should say, you can turn it sideways and grip the sleeve of it to try lifting in that fashion. Fat grips, it might slip out. So that's where that might help out. And then as far as Saxon Grip, some of my first grip implements were just 2x4s that I cut up and put together. You can make yourself a block with an eye bolt. If you're into like design, build, lift, or Kaizen DIY gym, you follow those pages, then this is right up their alley in terms of a DIY project, making a grip tool. Those are some quick DIY kind of ways to train for this if you'd like over the next month and a half. You can save some money at AbMat on Saxon Grips, about 15% if you use code VINTAGE. You can also just feel good about yourself supporting a Pennsylvania small business if you buy these implements from Arm Assassin Strength Shop. And when it comes to stronger grip and Black Widow training gear, same thing applies. These are both small businesses, really cool guys that are putting up this stuff that'll be given away as prizes, by the way. So support them and maybe go out and buy their stuff as well. $2,500 in prize money. I'm sweating. Oh my gosh. Whew. That's a lot of money that's going to be given away just for this competition. Some people have said, oh, is that for like all the competitions? Is that powerlifting and strongman and Olympic weightlifting? No. It's $2,500 just for the HomeGymCon Grip Championships, plus prizes. You can't afford not to enter this contest, especially if you're coming to HomeGymCon. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you there in just a short month and a half. All right, I think I covered it all. Now hit the button